evening, folks, and welcome to Garbage Theater. Tonight's installment, Clip Art the Movie. I'm your host, Chase, with my co-hosts, Blake and John.
Hello.
Yo, yo, yo.
Let's get this big purple shit of a shit show on the road.
Well, I'm happy that I picked worst of the worst again.
My God.
I don't know what. I don't even know what this.
You said this was going to be this season's Fungicide. Fungicide was at least a movie with a beginning, middle, and ending.
People were trying and everything.
What the shit was this? We watched The Amazing Bulk, by the way, if you didn't listen to last episode and you're wondering what the hell we're talking about. But
AKA the next step in the evolution of movies.
Yeah, I can't figure out what anybody was trying to do with this thing. You know, there are parts where it seems like it was trying to be funny, like thought it was making a silly comedy and was totally self-aware.
Yeah,
and there were other times where, it seemed like maybe they were trying, but it was crazy.
It's almost as if it's 100% green screen, the entire movie. And it's almost as if they filmed all of this with a completely different idea of what this movie was going to look like, and then gave it to Fuckstick McGillicuddy, whoever did the effects for this thing, and they just did whatever the fuck they felt like doing. Actually,
I found out we were actually cheated with this movie. Because they were originally going to do a Spider-Man ripoff, but with the Incredible Hulk instead.
Okay. So it
because they couldn't find a good model, like a free CG model to use for Spider-Man.
Probably so.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, it was going to be a Spider-Man ripoff, but it was going to be like a female lead.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think we got ripped off.
I am. I don't know. That's hard to say.
I mean, we could have. This movie could have been up against watching anything else, and having to watch this would have been the ripoff.
Yeah, that's true.
Anything, literally anything.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just start.
Let's dig in. Yeah. We'll be able to elaborate on our emotions.
I don't see this being a long episode, but you never fucking know. Who knows what tangents we're gonna go off on with this as the subject matter. Okay.
Well, it's fun. Like, my notes are very front loaded, like, because at first it's the shock of everything.
Yeah.
You're like, everything is crazy, and you're like, Jesus Christ, how am I going to get all this down?
Oh yeah, this was impossible. This was for the job that I do when we do these things, where I have to write a dictation of the whole movie. This was impossible. There's too much in every shot to possibly take in.
But like, as the movie goes on and gets crazier and crazier, it's like my notes at the beginning seem so naive and
okay. Spoiler alert, the last 15 minutes of this movie is just a mind fuck of random imagery. And my notes are just going to be listing off what it was, because there's no way to make jokes out of this.
Yeah. The movie is the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like trying to describe an acid trip. Like, it's personal to you. You can't explain it to anybody else.
You just have to experience it yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing starts, and it's right out the jump. There's all these ripoffs of, like, the 20th Century Fox logo, the Paramount Mountain Stars thing, and everything is in goddamn Comic Sans. Everything.
Well, they play the three, like, company logo ripoffs, but they're all for the same company.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that at all.
Yeah. And I really thought it was a bold choice going with Comic Sans. They're risk takers. They're like, yeah, I know everybody hates it and it's a big joke, but you know what? We're going to own it.
Oh, man.
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, is this movie just a big troll? I mean...
Pretty much.
A troll to the actors that were in it. Like I said, I don't think what is on the screen was planned at all. Some editor went rogue, and they had no choice but to release this.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall when they first showed the actors the final movie. Because the actors kind of seemed like, a few of them seemed like they were kind of trying.
The non-villain actors seemed like, yes. Yeah.
They're sitting there watching it like, what the fuck?
My name is on this.
Yeah, when the credits roll, somebody looks at him and goes, well, what did you think?
Thoughts?
Oh. So we open to a fantastic establishing shot of some city rendered in Nintendo 64 graphics.
Yes.
A lone hooker walks the 64-bit streets, and it's just too much to take in. The green screen, the raindrop effects. I don't have the big fat raindrops the size of your fist.
Yeah. Okay, so I texted you that like it was 3 minutes in or something, and I already had a rant.
3 minutes in is exactly where I had to stop this thing and go, what the fuck am I watching? And I looked at it, it was 3 minutes. I'm like, okay. I understand what John was saying now.
Well, this is my rant, and again, I'm gonna do it, but again, it just seems so small in, weighed against the scope of the insanity of this movie. But so this is about her walking. Because so they clearly establish this street, and it's shaped sort of like an eye. Yeah. You know, there's a stem and intersections at either end. And so the movie theater is at the very top, right at the intersection. The first shot, we see her. She's walking away from the movie theater along the top of the eye. The next shot, she's transported back to the intersection, like across the street by this deli, and she's crossing the street. And then that shot breaks the 180 degree rule so badly it needs hospitalization and months of physical therapy. In the next shot, she's walking back up the stem of the eye again toward the theater. In the next shot, she's back up by the deli again, going along the T the other way, or the eye. Then there's a CG shot of the rain, the crazy giant fist rain, which really creeped me out for some reason. I didn't understand this shot. It's like disturbing. I don't know. Then she's back at the bottom of the eye. Then she's back on the stem again, walking away from the theater. Then, out of the fucking blue, there's a series of shots that actually make sense. She's a streetwalker. That's her beat. She's patrolling. Literally patrolling.
She's patrolling Eye Alley.
Trying to catch them riding dirty.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. So, as she's going back and forth through time and space in this alleyway, she hears a meow of a cat and enters the alleyway, and she stops to have a cigarette. When some scumbag gets the drop on her and grabs her and shoves a gun in her mouth. And I'm not sure what this guy's motivation was, because he just straight up kills her for no reason.
I think he just wanted to kill somebody.
He just blows her head off. I just want to kill a hooker for no good reason. But before he does, she sees the bulk.
I don't know what you do for fun, Chase.
Yeah.
Right.
So, before he kills her, though, she looks up and sees the bulk. Yep, we're just going to introduce the titular monster by having his big purple naked ass show up out of goddamn thin air.
Yeah, he's just there now.
The thug opens fire at the bulk, and I have to admit, I jumped a little bit here because I actually thought the TV shot a bullet at me. It was so goddamn realistic.
Yeah. The bullet comes straight at you.
It's the shot of the mugger's face with a clip art gun pointed directly at you in front of it, and then a clip art bullet that's even lower res than the gun comes flying out, and they just scale it up as it gets closer to the camera. It hits the Bulk in the chest, and he's unfazed. The thug screams in fear as the Bulk kills him off screen, and then he just kind of sashays away.
Yeah.
There's no other way to describe how the Bulk runs other than sashaying.
I think it's my favorite part of the movie was watching that thing run.
It's pretty good.
He's got one arm up and like cocked around his midsection like he's got a purse hung off of it.
It looked like he was trying to clinch a golf ball between his ass cheeks running down that alley.
And he's bare ass naked.
Yes.
So this was clearly a base model of like an ogre or something that they hadn't clothed yet. And they said, oh yeah, that'll work. Make it purple.
And the Bulk for some reason looks like Michael Madsen.
With its squashy face.
Yeah.
So the opening credit sequence happens, and it's just a goddamn Tim and Eric bit. The only way to describe it is it's basic After Effects templates run in the background while science-y clip art things fly around the screen. Like Da Vinci sketches and microscopes and wireframe bodies, encyclopedias, the word units.
I love the microscope. That was my favorite one.
I like the encyclopedia. I was like, scientists do not use the encyclopedia.
Oh my god. So back into the movie. A pair of detectives inspect the crime scene. There's some terrible David Fincher extreme close-up hard angle shots of the gun and the hooker and the goon, and it's all terrible. Detective Lisa spots what she automatically assumes is blood on the ground, even though it's fucking purple. They find them on the mugger a driver's license, but it's not his. It's Henry Hank Howard's. And they suspect it belongs to some other poor fool that the mugger mugged earlier. Then a cartoon ambulance shuts its doors on the movie and drives away with it.
I was not expecting this.
It's a shot of the two. It's the shot of the two detectives, and the ambulance doors close around them as if they and the street they're on are within the ambulance, and it drives away with the shot. That's the transition.
Once again, just bold moves is all I can say.
Bold is a word for it.
No jokes are needed this episode, folks. I'm just going to explain what we see.
It's going to sound like jokes.
So, cut to one day earlier in Cartoon, Florida. In a science lab that looks like it was rendered out in one of those early 2000s realty house specking programs.
That's what it looks like, yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to put the table here, and then the love seat's going to be here, and nothing's going to cast shadows.
Yep.
You haven't put any of the lighting elements in yet.
So, Dr. Henry Howards is complaining that he's spent 4 years on this project with nothing to show for it except for this cartoon rat.
There's very few real, like, practical props in the movie. And this table full of, like, science shit is one of the few. Yeah. But then there's this little glass cage with a tiny cartoon rat in it.
With a bone in it for some reason.
Yeah, this rat feeds only on human femurs.
Really, the only practical real life thing that's in the movie is the people.
Yeah.
For the most part.
They spent the people in their clothes. That's it.
They spent their $17.99 budget on a pair of Hulk hands.
Yeah,
that's it. So
and a little bit of purple paint.
Yeah. So he's complaining that the serum that they're developing keeps turning blue, and when it does, it has no effect on Billy, the cartoon rat. He talks about proposing to his girlfriend, Hannah, but he also has to ask for her father, the General's, permission first. And he reveals that they're working on a super soldier serum for the General. But then, as they inject poor Billy, he just poofs away in a puff of cartoon smoke.
The idea of, like, running this science based on the color of the outcome of the serum. You're like, it keeps turning blue! It's like, well, so?
I found myself wanting things that actually are funny in the movie. Like, if you're gonna rip off shit, like, if they would have had the mouse die the way the mice die in South Park when they eat concentrated gluten, like, that would have been hilarious. Yeah. But instead, we just got this poof.
Done. It just farts away.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, you know, that goes back to the heart of like, what is this and why was it made? And, like, it's not funny. And there are times when it seems like it's kind of trying to be funny, but...
Were they relying on the green screen to eventually make it funny?
Yeah, it's like the script isn't funny. There's no jokes in it. I just don't know.
I'm going to write a few emails and get some answers to these questions.
Yeah, we got to get some emails. I need answers.
So, Hannah then comes in and says, don't worry. It was just a cartoon rat. She says that she's going to take him out for lunch to get his mind off of his work. We then cut to an episode of goddamn Scooby-Doo as our characters drive around in a lower-than-low-res pixelated clip art car around a funhouse mirror city where there's a toy store on every block going down a row all the way to fucking infinity and back.
I'm not sure that was a clip art car. I think that was an MS Paint car.
It looked.
The cars got progressively worse.
Yeah.
The first car was kind of a real looking car.
It looked like they took an image of a car and they stuck it in Photoshop and they just kept scaling the resolution back until it got so just it was just like 3 or 4 colors were all that was left, because you can see the pixelation of where it was kind of once a fucking real car.
A photo of a real car. Yes.
But
I just truly don't understand why they couldn't use a real car.
Why not just use the... Okay, yes. Cars are abundant and available. I have to believe someone on this production owned a fucking car. But if you're still going to use the green screen for everything, just use a picture of a car, a real picture of a car. You can't tell me that this was okay by anyone involved in production. Again, leaning back to my theory of nobody saw this fucking thing once it got in the hands of the editor.
I found myself wanting this throughout the whole time watching the movie. I want the raw footage. To see these two actors just sitting in chairs, pretending they're in a car.
Or sitting on the floor. They might not even had chairs.
Maybe. Like,
no, there are times when you can see the couch that they're sitting on inside the car. But there's so much stuff that I just don't understand. I mean, yes, somebody must have had a car. Also, why couldn't they ever move the camera? Like, why did they have them walk in place or run in place? Couldn't they just have a tracking shot or something and actually have them walking?
In no situation can you have a person walk in place and then make it look like they're actually walking.
No.
It doesn't.
It's impossible.
I'd say these assholes did a pretty good job of it. I don't know what you're talking about.
The general was 100% the worst of all of them. He barely moved. He's just sliding through hallways.
These fucking 60s Batman shots of them running through the woods and the cities and shit.
When these two went to the park, I felt like I was magically transported there with them.
Oh, yeah. The perfectly cylindrical butterflies were the dead giveaway.
The beauty of nature.
We're jumping all over, though. Okay, so, yeah. Cue the montage of them running through the fields and the butterflies and the giggling, except it's terrible. She reminds him that they have dinner with the Colonel later. And Hannah then asks Henry if he remembers wanting children, and he says that he promises that they'll have 12 children someday when his work is complete.
She's like, whoa, I just wanted like a couple, Jesus.
Yeah, you want kids? Okay, 12. There, you happy now?
No, wait a minute.
None of them will be real, they're all CG anyway.
A lot of them are going to be like skunks and ferrets and things. Anthropomorphic animals.
They're going to look exactly like Jimmy Neutron.
Okay, so back at the lab, they have a new cartoon rat that defies space and time because it's both in the cage and also in front of the beakers outside the cage. It is on the top layer of the frickin' film. Then a science montage happens as the two scientists pour beaker after beaker of various colored liquids while giant molecules fly around behind them, letting us know just how smart they both are.
Which goes back to what John said about the colors, because basically they're going, yeah, we'll do a little bit of blue, a little bit of red, see what we come out with.
They're just pouring colored water.
It's a Tide ad.
Yeah, if they understood color theory, they could have gotten a purple, no problem.
Right.
That's just blue. That's just blue and red, motherfuckers.
So Henry injects the new rat with the serum, and it explodes in a puff of pink smoke this time. Henry then has to count 10 because he's so angry about all these failures.
I'm sick of failure.
The dude playing Henry has this face like he's constantly smelling rancid shit.
Yeah.
It's in every single scene he's in. He's got this...
The corners of his mouth are turned all the way down. Did it bother anybody else, his, bonus mouth movements all the time?
Thank you.
Dude,
thank you for saying that.
I thought I was the only one that picked that up.
He would say something, and after he was done talking, his mouth would just go...
Yeah.
His jaw just, has a spring in there or something.
Like he's having a constant nervous breakdown while he's filming this movie. Like there's someone off screen holding a gun to him, making him do it.
Maybe his face looked like that because he could smell how shitty this movie was going to be.
So the other scientist turns to him after the rat poofs away and says, well, maybe Billy number 238 will be the lucky one. And then it freeze frames on Henry's disgusting face like it's about to cut to credits in an episode of Step by Step or some shit. So they ended on a joke. That night at the general's mansion, complete with a huge liquid mercury fountain out front.
I was like, man, he must have money to have all that T1000 juice.
Henry stands at the door and practices asking the general for his daughter's hand in marriage while he waits for Hannah to come and answer the door. They stroll through the house as the Garbage Theater theme song plays in the background.
Yes.
A little bit of Vivaldi for everybody. They find the general in his library where he's just telling Dust just how he feels about it.
Which, that's where I was like, oh, that's where those plot keywords came from.
Yeah.
From that one scene.
That's where Dust comes from. He's standing
Dust,
alone.
Hate, and building.
He's standing alone in his library, just saying, I hate dust. It's covering everything. Henry and Hannah come in, and he immediately accuses Henry of stealing the flowers that he brought Hannah from their garden before Henry asked to talk to him in private. The general says that they need to go to a different room because there could be spies listening. Dust spies.
This is a classic general. Just wearing his general hat all the time.
Constantly.
Using military jargon in everyday conversations.
As he walks through his 5 fucking mile long wine cellar.
Oh yeah.
Well, he slides through it.
Yeah. They stroll through the general's wine cellar that consists of only the finest $7 bottles of Yellowtail available. It's this endless foyer of wine, and he's got a bottle of Yellowtail. He's got a bottle of Yellowtail in his hand. That's the one he picked.
The 2018 Yellowtail.
So the general demands results, but Henry says he just wants to talk about Hannah. The general immediately goes aggro and accuses him of knocking her up, and Henry storms out as Hannah gives her father a confused look while he just glares back with this dumbass hat. Cut to a bunch of fucking bats and a medieval castle. Sure, and a cartoon fucking dog. Why the fuck not?
Nobody in the production owned a real dog, apparently.
There's a goddamn CG pug right out of fucking Puppy Pals on Disney Junior.
It's insane.
Okay. When I was talking about the cartoon rat earlier, it was just a bad CG rat. This is a cartoon dog.
Did the rat even move?
It bent at the midsection a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
This dog is doing all kinds of fucking things.
Yeah.
Well, this is totally, it's all pre-animated. None of this was done by the filmmakers.
No, it's just slapped in there.
Yeah, that's why I called it clip art the movie. It gets way worse.
We need something on the right side of the screen. Oh, I know. A dog rubbing its back on the ground.
Folks, this is tame compared to what's coming. Oh, you have no idea.
It's like that. It's that thing where people remake famous album covers with clip art.
Yeah,
but a movie version of that.
They didn't remake. They just said, we can just do it with clip art. We don't have to remake anything." So this woman comes trotting in. She's kind of dressed like a child and acting like a child. Maybe, I don't know. I don't get it. Meanwhile, there's 2 goddamn Centurion guards, complete with spears, shields, and Hanes breathable t-shirts watching her.
Why? Okay.
It all makes sense in a minute.
But why would they... Why would they have spears and a shield and modern guards?
They made it very obvious in a couple minutes.
So... They're watching her from a torch-laden, steel-barred dungeon door. Then a big guy in a purple suit waddles in and complains to her that she left her cosmetics all over his 100-year-old coffee table. Also, don't gyrate in front of the guards. All in a terrible German accent.
Boy, that was...
This guy looks like Tim Curry having an allergic reaction.
So he walks over to the guards and starts giving them the business when one of the guards makes a rude gesture right to his face. And then he says, "Oh, you like to make funny gestures when I'm not looking?" You were looking dead at him.
Yeah.
The guard denies any of this actually happened, but the cartoon goddamn dog apparently has a say in the matter. So Mr. Purple, Dr. Kontlove, gets a super soaker that's painted silver and blasts lightning at the guard and turns him into a skeleton.
See, that's why he needed the shield and a spear. Because the only clip art they had of a skeleton falling down had a shield and a shield in his hand.
You're right. Well, he also this particular guard must have been He must have been wearing that Roman like leather skirt thing under his clothes.
Yes, yeah.
The skeleton suddenly had one.
Because when I was watching this, and I was like, "Why?" I said, "Why the fuck why do they have shields?" Like I was confused, just like everybody else. Yeah. And as soon as they shot him with the lightning, I was like, "Oh, okay." It was we have to make this fit somehow. Hence the castle and all that, because that whole thing happened in front of that wall.
Yeah.
I guess, but I just don't see that the filmmakers would even care that much to put in the effort.
Well, obviously you don't know about effort. Okay.
Clearly. I mean, if he was trying to be funny about it would have been even funnier if the two like modern looking guards with earpieces and sunglasses or something. And he gets turned into a skeleton that's suddenly got a shield and spear.
Oh, God. So after that, Dr. Kontlove and his little lady friend slide down a hallway and let the innuendos fly.
Mm-hmm.
They come to a control room that's inhabited by a cartoon monkey playing with a rocket ship and a video of cartoon Mozart conducting music.
Do they ever acknowledge the monkey?
Oh, they acknowledge the monkey later in the scene. They have a scene exclusively for the monkey.
Well, don't they send the monkey to the moon?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about in this scene.
No, there's just a monkey in the corner playing with a rocket ship.
They don't even say hello to the monkey.
Right.
Hello, monkey. No.
He's like, what, am I not here?
So Dr. Kontlove has his lady friend press a button that launches a missile, and it goes straight and blows up the Institute of German Scientists. And it looks like every factory in every Hanna-Barbera cartoon ever. It's just a brick square building with 3 smokestacks sticking out of it.
Yeah, and then
you just pictured it in your head.
It says the Institute of German Scientists or whatever in Comic Sans on the side.
So she wants to celebrate, but he's got ED, so that ain't happening.
Get it? His name's Dr. Kontlove because his dick doesn't work.
So, yeah, this is going to be a gag through the entire movie. He launches some more missiles, though, to celebrate at the London Bridge and the Sphinx and the Great Wall and the Taj Mahal and Washington, D.C. and the Sydney Opera House, Mount Rushmore, Hollywood, Stonehenge, the Colosseum, and the final missile to the most threatening target of all, St. Louis.
Get fucked, St. Louis. I'm surprised all of these photos didn't say Getty Images like on top of them.
Oh, Lord. Those are the ones, of all the landmarks, those are the ones that didn't have a watermark on them. So that's the ones they had to use. Cut to the county fair, where Hannah and Henry are having a great time. Henry almost proposes to her, but she spots a roller coaster, and they just have to go ride it. And they do. And guess what? It's terrible.
They couldn't point a fan at these motherfuckers.
It's going all over the place, and they're just completely stationary.
This is the fastest roller coaster I've ever seen, and their hair is completely still.
Yeah. Once again, to see the raw footage of these two assholes sitting in chairs, just swaying at the same time. Whoa, whoa! Like, I would love to see it. Yeah.
So the roller coaster ride transitions to a subway,
which I thought was nice, by the way. Like, no shit. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
I kind of agree with you, actually. It's like, whoa, look at that.
Highlight of the movie, folks.
Like, it looked like hammered ass, but the idea was cool.
The spirit was there.
Yes.
So they're in the subway, where Henry's about to pop the question, when the mugger from the beginning points a gun in his back. Okay, who else completely forgot this was all establishing the opening scene of the movie?
I certainly did.
I said, wait a second, he's dead. Oh, wait, this is all a flashback.
See, you did better than me, because I thought, did they use the same actor to play a mugger again?
Well, I'm over here like, well, his character in this scene is a little bit different than his character in the other scene. He's not a complete, like, murdering psycho in this scene.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I completely forgot that first scene even happened at this point. My mind was so numb. Henry gives him his wallet, and Hannah gives him her earrings, but the mugger then goes for the ring that Henry has in his jacket pocket, and the two of them get into a fist fight. And boy, is it a whopper.
But this is the point where, you know, in the previous scene, we see his character just blow a girl's head off for basically no reason. Here, Hank attacks him, and he's like, just leaves.
Yeah, he just bests Henry in fisticuffs and then leaves them be with his spoils. So Hannah's angry at Henry because he risked his life like that, and Henry claims that, I was just protecting a flash drive with some documents on it. Cut to...
Like, tell the truth, because that would be a whole lot better way to pop the question. Like, yeah, I risked my life because it was an engagement ring that I had for you. Like, how could she say no then?
Well, didn't happen. Because we have to cut now to the Jetsons, as Henry and Hannah fly around in a goddamn future car.
It was impressive.
They then arrive back at the General's mansion in a more different but equally shitty car.
Whose car is this?
I don't know.
It wasn't the one they were in earlier.
No.
I just keep wondering who cut the picture of a Mercedes-Benz out of a magazine and stuck it behind the T1000 fountain.
Yeah. So he drops her off, but he says that he has to put in some late hours at the lab, and she angrily says that this project isn't worth his happiness and storms off. Back at the lab, Henry does some more science stuff and produces a purple serum. He injects it into a dying plant because they're fresh out of cartoon rats. And
but listen, this isn't how science works. You can't you can't suddenly switch to plants.
Sure you can.
No, you cannot.
Look, if it's gonna work, it's gonna work.
The control was the rat.
Everyone knows there is fundamentally no genetic difference between a cartoon rat and a plastic plant.
Fair enough.
Everybody knows that the scientific method is bullshit. Nobody's ever found anything out using the scientific method.
Yeah, it's basically gotten us nowhere.
Exactly.
So, he injects it into the dying plant, and it brings it back to life. But he needs bigger results than, a working serum. So he does the only reasonable thing and injects himself with it. His insides all start turning purple, and that's a mess. And he turns into a goddamn indoor tornado at one point. And then a big rubber fake-ass purple hand reaches up and grabs the table.
It was actually jarring, this hand, because it was like a practical special effect.
Yeah. There's one other practical effect with the bulk that comes later that really took me out of the movie. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
So later we see Henry walking the same streets that the hooker was on when he comes across the mugger and the hooker. And seeing the mugger shoot the hooker makes him so angry, he tornadoes up again and turns into the big naked idiot. And we're forced to watch the entire introductory scene again, complete with the stupid bullet shot and everything.
How did the mugger and the hooker not see the goddamn tornado earlier?
Holy shit, there's a tornado isolated in this one and only alley. So Henry reverts back to himself, fishes the ring box out of the mugger's jacket, but it's empty. He then turns back into the bulk to shuffle off into the night.
Yeah, gets pissed again and then runs away. I don't know.
So when he turned into the tornado right on top of the bodies and didn't toss them around or anything.
He does not care about this this crime scene at all. He's leaving his fingerprints all over the place.
So, cut back to the castle of Dr. Kontlove, and a couple of, like, okay, they might as well have been cartoons. These coin-flipping low-lives. One of them is literally flipping a coin to show that he's this, gangster character. They're showing a ring to the doctor. It's Henry's ring. This whole scene's hard to watch. It's like a Three Stooges routine. The doctor wants the ring for his Lolita, and the scene degrades into madness as the doctor starts telling these two that he wants them to go take a swim, and he laughs maniacally, and then blood oozes over the screen, and we transition from that. And
I think it was at this point where I was like, was this made for children? But then I remember that the lady got a gun jammed in her mouth and her head shot off. And they keep talking about
giant
Dr.
naked
Kontlove's
ass.
dick. Yeah, yes, that also.
So back at Henry's place, he wakes up to a knock at the door, thinking it was all a dream. It's the two detectives from earlier. They're at the door and they're saying that they're there to return his wallet. So he lets them in to his palatial apartment. He tells them that he was mugged, and they say that his wallet was found at the scene of a double homicide. And
so here you go.
So here's your wallet. They decide to get out of his hair and leave him. Parking meter transition.
But yeah, it's just the logic of two detectives handing off a piece of evidence from a double homicide.
And then when they questioned him, he knew all the details to it, and they still left. They didn't spring the trap then or anything. So in the police,
something else that was really distracting was that the male detective, I don't know their names, looks like exactly like my old boss. I was like, God damn, Joe, what's going on in here? I didn't realize you were a movie star.
It was distracting to me that the woman detective's entire dialogue was dubbed.
Yeah.
Everything. Meanwhile, in the police cruiser, the shitty police cruiser.
It's the worst car yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the star on the side. Come on.
This hand-drawn, completely asymmetrical star.
The whole car was done in MS Paint. Literal MS Paint.
Yes. Not maybe, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah. Like you can't tell me that you can't Google a star and take that image and slap it on. Come on.
I think they just proved that they can't.
They say, well, why don't you just draw it like you typically draw a star when you want it to be perfect, where the lines cross each other. They said, no, that's gonna look childish. I'm gonna freehand this bitch.
Mm-hmm. Watch
Boom,
this
nailed
shit.
it first try.
Moving on. As the editor, as the special effects wizard is sitting alone in a basement talking to himself.
He's like, you all told me I couldn't do it.
Detective Garton, which is the man, says that he believes that Henry might have killed the mugger. And he gives us evidence that Henry knew that the mugger killed a prostitute. And also, for some reason, the detective's hands covered in purple blood that happened at some point in Henry's apartment.
Yeah, they never explained that one.
I think you're more of a suspect at this point, detective. They see Henry walking down the street, returning to the scene of the crime, and they call for backup.
If he's so innocent, why am I covered in blood?
So Henry returns to the scene of the crime, and he replays the night in his mind when the two detectives find him. They say that they've got to take him in, when he then transforms into the tornado again, and then into the bulk. They open fire and run in place after the shuffling bulk. He explodes through cars and debris, and it's fantastic.
Yes.
These little cartoon cars are just flipping all over the place.
I was like, maybe you could go around a car once in a while. Bulk. Nope. Every single car that's on screen, he runs into.
He's just going to sashay through everything.
If he makes too tight of a turn, that golf ball is going to fall out of his ass.
So, at this point...
was the most, like, spatially confusing part of the movie, too. Like,
he's running around the same block.
The place. Everyone's running in random directions. Somehow the cops are keeping up with him and still shooting at him.
Like they fire 100 and something rounds at this thing, and everybody's running in different directions. Like
it's chaos.
There's no way you can possibly follow what the fuck's going on.
They're circling the same block over and over, knocking over car after car. Why are all these cars in this alleyway? Where are all these shipping containers coming from?
Yes, there's a shipyard in that alley somewhere.
Every shot of the cops running, it's juxtaposed with a wall of shipping containers in this alley of this urban city.
Also, you have all these cars, but there's not a soul in this city other than the actors.
So we then are introduced to a helicopter news crew that are pursuing the bulk, looking for that big scoop. So eventually the bulk flips over a cozy coop and it lands on top of Detective Lisa and crushes her.
Thank God.
Get her out of here.
So the news crew then flies closer to the bulk to get a good shot. And, okay, here it is. Here it is. The shot of the movie for me. The bulk reaches up and grabs the helicopter. Except it's a real person painted purple.
I think it's the detective.
I think it's the detective, actually.
It is the detective. It most certainly is.
And I went, whoa! And I had to rewind it and watch it again.
This is the only shot in the entire movie where they had to paint a man purple.
Well, yeah, it's just not efficient. I mean, why spend all the time painting the guy when you could just green screen it?
I guess, but I mean, they had him painted. They couldn't get a couple other shots.
No, that'd be ridiculous.
The only animations of the bulk they had was the sachet, the bending down, and then the weird smile, and that's it.
I mean, they may have had him already painted, but then they'd have to bring him to the other locations to film, so that wouldn't make sense.
Getting that man outside of Mario's castle is impossible.
I do call it, eventually in the movie, there's a shot where I refer to it as Princess Peach's castle in the Mushroom Kingdom, because that's exactly what it fucking looks like.
From Mario 64, it 100% is that castle.
Yeah.
So, after crushing the helicopter, Bulk Sleepy and trudges into an alleyway and slowly squats down and turns back into Henry. The detective walks up to Henry and tries to execute him point blank, but his gun's empty. He used all 200 rounds in that clip. So he resorts
his entire bandolier.
He resorts to Plan B and just punches him out. Cut to a prison where Henry's being held, and he laments injecting himself with the serum. More shots of people walking in place.
Like he doesn't he immediately. So there's a sound effect of his cell door closing.
Yeah,
and then he immediately starts acting like he's been in there long. He can't even remember how long he's been in there.
It might have been 10 days. It might have been 10 years. There's no way to know.
Maybe even less than 10 minutes.
So the detective returns, makes his way into the cell, and starts slapping Henry around and pulls his gun again. But before he can kill Henry, the general appears with a syringe and says, "What's up, Doc?" And I don't know why he said that.
Yeah. Well, I guess he's a doctor. A science doctor.
A science doctor.
He also had a line where he's saying, like, if the serum ever fell into the wrong hands, there's no telling what could happen. And I'm like, motherfucker, your hands were the wrong hands.
Cut to them wheeling a drugged Henry down a corridor. The general tells them that they need to study his condition as he finally achieved the results that they can use. Henry then starts to transform by way of painted Hulk hands on his hands. When the general injects him with the sedative again, says, "Sweet dreams, you purple pile of cow dung."
It's a good line.
Dang!
God. The general is the worst. He's the worst in the movie.
And anytime he gets too intense, they had to redub his screaming because it was apparently too loud.
He's blowing out the microphone.
Cut to Kontlov's castle. He's dancing with his Lolita while the idiot dog is rolling around on the ground underneath them.
For some reason, they have the Walk of Fame as their floor. Yeah. The Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah, they've just got random stars. Actor stars on the ground. They decide to blow something up, but he wants to up the ante and decides to use a Saturn V rocket to blow up the moon. What is this guy's end game?
There is none.
He's just randomly blowing up shit. He's not demanding anything of anyone.
He's not even the villain of this movie. Like, why are we even spending time with this motherfucker? Like, he doesn't do anything.
No. Until they involve him with the bulk line a little later, I was wondering, is he going to serve a purpose at all?
Oh, that's true. I guess he kind of had a purpose in the plot.
Yeah. Don't know what his motivation is, but it's okay, because we don't have time for that. We have to do 10 minutes of simulated satellite sex. Seriously.
What?
Just satellites docking and undocking with each other over and over again, and the shit just keeps going on and on and on.
Like, were they supposed to, like, we were supposed to glean something from that, or was it just, I don't...
I don't know.
I kept thinking, like, did I miss something?
Well, they're not.
Are they trying to...
Him and his girlfriend aren't having sex, that's for damn sure. We've already established that can't happen.
So that's what I was wondering, like, I was going to get some clarity from y'all, but I guess not.
Well, not... So, he says they're going to use a Saturn V rocket to blow up the moon. They go to the footage, and it's straight up footage from the 60s.
Yeah.
Of like the space race. Rocket says USA on it. And then it's just CG satellites boning, and then a cartoon rocket with a monkey in it.
Well, that's not even that's not even happening yet. That's later.
That hasn't happened yet. But when does the moon get blown up? They fired the rocket.
Yeah, that's coming with the monkey. And don't worry, I got a whole thing on that.
Okay.
So it's just the satellites banging each other for reasons. I guess that's what NASA's up to nowadays.
They're just down there giggling.
Instead of going back to the moon, we're just going to bang satellites into each other.
They're like, "Hey, Steve, look at what the satellite's doing."
Back at the prison, Henry's being kept inside of some sort of electricity tube that doesn't seem to be affecting him at all. He's in a room filled with electricity. The general
was he in a window, you think, or on a screen?
I think that was a screen. You can't have a window on a room filled with electricity.
Yeah, I thought it was a window, but what do I know?
So the general tells him that he's going to actually give him his blessing to marry Hannah. But Henry says it's too late for that because he can't conform to society. He's a monster now.
He can't conform to society?
He says that...
I've got to go be the singer for Stabbing Westward.
The general says, but we found an antidote. But we need to use your special powers so you can stop Dr. Kontlove. It's all coming together. They know where his base is, but we can't send in the armed forces. We can only send in a single naked purple asshole. So, cut to a single helicopter flying out with Henry in it. I don't know what kind of hat this helicopter pilot's wearing, but I don't think that's what they wear.
No, it isn't.
It's like those ear flaps, like winter hats, for some reason.
That's the closest they could approximate.
It looked like one of the little winter hats. It looked like one of the winter hats from one of the kids on A Christmas Story.
Yeah. Flicks hat.
So Henry leaps out of the helicopter and ragdolls down through fucking bat country, where he lands on his feet safely from who knows how many hundreds of feet up.
Yeah. Now he isn't even the bulk at this point. This is just This is just old nerdy.
This isn't ripping off of the Hulk where they throw him out of a plane and he transforms on the fall. Nope.
Yeah,
he sticks to landing.
I was hoping for that Thor Ragnarok gag where he just slaps on the ground.
So he pulls a map out of his pocket, looks at it once, and then throws it away.
Well, he already looked at it.
Got it.
And then starts his hard sprint to the castle. Meanwhile, here we go. A straight up 2D line drawing of a cartoon rocket ship is circumnavigating the Earth and leaves orbit to the moon. It makes a spectacular maneuver and lands on the surface. So I'm to believe that this is the rocket that he sent to blow up the moon. Why does it have a fucking window on it? Also, why is it landing on the moon? Also, why does the top pop open and the fucking cartoon monkey comes out of it?
These are all questions that will never have answers.
Yeah. I mean, this is some David Lynch shit.
It's definitely the rocket because Dr. Kontlove's watching on a monitor and as it lands, he's getting ready to press the detonator button. And he says that he will have no more honeymooner reruns and hits the detonator. And the top of the rocket pops open. The fucking cartoon monkey pops out in space and just kind of smiles. And I'm going to go kill myself now.
Did the monkey sabotage the rocket or something?
Did he turn it into a rocket instead of a missile? He just hollowed it out and just took it for a joyride?
I don't know. All I can think is Atlantic Rim. It's a damn good question.
Graham Greene would be confused as hell by this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Back on Earth, Henry wanders through acid trip after acid trip. He walks through a cartoon golf course, complete with a little cartoon person playing golf. He walks through a lovely leprechaun grove, where a leprechaun is sitting, counting his gold in his bucket. He then goes through a windmill farm, and finally to the Mushroom Kingdom castle. What?
It's full on now.
He comes across a drawbridge with a couple of knights on it. No, not even knights. They're Spartans from goddamn 300. He takes out a picture of the general to get him nice and bulked out.
To get him nice and hard.
Yeah. He then chases the guards into the castle when Dr. Kontlove spots him on a monitor. And he releases Rover, his pet boulder, to deal with the bulk? Was it supposed to be something else?
It had
I have to believe.
Yeah.
Because he says, I'm going to release my pet rover to deal with this. And it's just a boulder.
It's a rock.
It's a pet rock joke.
All it manages to do is kill one of his own men.
That's it.
At one point, it's in front of the bulk, and it just runs over his own guards. So he then laments killing his 2 personal guards from earlier in the movie. Remember them?
He only killed one of them.
I know.
Was it the 2 that he said he was gonna send for a swim? I don't know.
I don't know who those guys were.
I don't know.
As the bulk corners the final guard on the roof, the guard lets a scream out that lasts for 15 minutes easily before the bulk Monty Pythons him with his big idiot foot. That the scale is all... The bulk has to be 500 feet tall, the scale of this foot.
Yeah. The scale of things is all over the place. I couldn't tell
it was his foot at first.
It was just a big purple mass.
Yeah.
So Dr. Kontlove then tells us that this is worse than the time that the flying saucer broke down and a little green alien came to the door to ask to use the phone. As he runs through the warehouse where they keep the Ark of the fucking Covenant and a cartoon goddamn alien is chasing him in a UFO.
Was that a flashback?
I think it was.
That was a flashback? Okay.
But then he's actually running through that place.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what him running through there reminded him of the time that he was running through there from the alien. I mean, that's just common sense, fellas. Come on.
Yeah,
so then
you're right.
We cut to Lolita as she's wandering blindfolded through a velvet roped walkway that goes on forever. She stumbles into the bulk and mistakes him for Dr. Kontlove. She reaches out and God damn it, Blake.
I gotta say, I honestly did not think the bulk was gonna get a hand job in this movie.
She finds his Swamp Ape, everybody.
Well, is it wrong that, I listened to the Swamp Ape episode again not too long ago, and I was so, remorseful for that having happened. But then when this part came up, all I could think was, oh yeah, let it fucking happen.
Yep, I was like, here it comes. Anybody order a giant CG purple dick because we're about to get it.
I've just become so jaded where I'm just like, yep, let's bring it on.
Luckily, though, that does not happen. She just talks about feeling it, even though he visibly has no dick because he's bare-ass naked through the whole movie.
Yeah.
She removes her blindfold and apparently likes what she sees.
Right.
This is an improvement to Dr. Kontlove.
Well, yeah,
but he punches her in the face.
Bastard.
Yeah, but he punches her in the face and knocks her out cold anyway.
Well, fuck her. I mean,
the movie then cuts to some sort of hobgoblin with a flat top wandering through a dirt tunnel with a torch led by the fucking cartoon dog, and it's dead silent. And
who was this goblin?
And it's at this point that I finally knew the toll that this podcast has taken, as I've come to understand that my brain was dying.
Yeah, this is where it starts to get weird. I know it sounds weird.
It starts to get weird.
Oh, you want non sequitur? I'll give you non sequitur, motherfucker. Here's a hobgoblin in a tunnel with a dog. So, cut to Dr. Kontlove running through the warehouse, the Ark of the Covenant warehouse again, where he runs into the bulk, and he begs for his life, but the bulk smushes him good too.
Bulk smush.
If he would have had a line like that, I would have given it some more points, but no.
Yeah.
Outside, Henry's back to himself, and he gets on the walkie-talkie to the general to come pick him up when a jet flies by and shoots a rocket at him, sending him fleeing back inside. The general then calls him and explains that there is no antidote, and the government stopped funding this project years ago, but Dr. Kontlove was more than willing to fund a project that could possibly cure his ED.
So, now I have questions. So, was the serum they're making supposed to help with ED, or is that just what the general was telling Kontlove so he could continue to get funding?
That or the flip. Or it was him telling the scientists that they were making a super soldier serum when really they were just making an ED medication. Take your pick. Either one's fine.
That's why it ain't working. Nobody knows what the fuck they're trying to make.
That's why they keep poofing those cartoon rats.
Because, like, I started digging deep in my head because I was like, maybe that's why they were so worried about it being blue, because it's like a blue pill, and, like, I don't know. But I hate to think that this guy, basically his life's work that he, like, put everything else on hold was to make more dick pills.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, the world's already got those.
Needs to be a super dick pill.
Well, yeah, obviously. But then, okay.
Kontlove's dick disease is way too powerful for your
say
average Viagra.
If they are trying to make dick pills, then they really went the wrong way because it turned him into a monster with no dick.
My God, it's reversed his dick.
But apparently not, unless it's like there's like an invisible phantom dick there, because Lolita found it, sure enough.
Wait, I figured it out. He tucks it like Buffalo Bill. That's why he runs that way.
That's what he's holding between his butt cheeks.
That's what it is. He's got his own dick up his ass.
Yeah. Well, now the movie makes sense again. Let's keep rolling.
Slippery motherfucker.
Oh, Lord. So, now that they have a successful serum, the general no longer had any need for Dr. Kontlove, which is why he decided to eliminate him with the bulk.
Can I just, again, I want to comment on something that really seems trivial at this point in this movie. But, so Hank has a walkie-talkie to talk to the general.
Right.
The general does not have a walkie-talkie. They're somehow hearing each other.
That's how loud the general is.
He's screaming. You can hear him all the way over in fucking Transylvania or wherever.
Yeah, all the way from Cartoon, Florida. So more jets arrive and start opening fire on the castle as Henry morphs into the bulk again and flees. Cartoon Robin Hood is on the roof of the castle, shooting volley after volley of arrows at the bulk.
Yep, hold on to your hats.
Here we go, folks. This is the last 15 minutes of the movie is just the bulk fleeing through scenes as explosions are behind him. He runs through Cartoon Australia, where there's a cartoon kangaroo and a cartoon koala that's got an Australian hat on, and he's watching a boomerang fly around his head over and over again, because Australia. He goes through a cartoon zoo with flamingos, a cartoon farm. It doesn't matter. Some tanks start giving chase, blasting away at his exposed ass as he runs through a scene of anthropomorphic animals on a swing set. Cartoon soldiers, laptop using salamanders, the red fucking Baron is pursuing him. He runs through a couple of kids' soccer practice. There's a pirate ship shooting cannonballs at him. There's a superhero flying through the sky. There's Mack trucks. He pisses off Zeus at one point. He starts throwing lightning bolts at him.
Let's stop. Everything he's saying
only halfway.
Was on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, this literally happened.
Literally all this
pretty
happened.
Much rapid fire like this, too.
Iguanas in the desert. The Nautilus from 20,000 Leagues Below. Fucking Davy Crockett's tracking him. Old-timey trains are trying to run over him. Flying dogs. Cowboys. The list goes on and on.
This is like the end of like the Holy Grail or Blazing Saddles or something, where like the logic of everything just starts absolutely shattering.
It reminded me of the Nazi chase scene in Blues Brothers, where just for a minute they get really ridiculous with it, but then they bring it back down. This just went off the goddamn rails.
No, they never bring it back down.
And the flying dog is the dog we've been seeing throughout the whole movie with a cape now. He abandoned his hobgoblin buddy and is just flying through the air. So finally, fighter jet pilot Ben Roethlisberger is making his way towards the bulk, and we get a nice close-up shot of his patch that says U.S. Air Force, and then the other lapel says, "We kill for peace." I'm sorry, movie. Are you trying to make some kind of statement, you fucking mountain of dog shit? Where do you get off?
Well, also, why is it the U.S.? Dude's German, right? Like, what? How does he have the U.S. like Air Force at his disposal? Oh, well, no, I guess the general now. Yeah, the general's now doing it. That's right.
Well, how did he get over there? What nationality the bomb driver is?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
he's got a
He
Dr.
drops
Strangelove style. Like
Ben Roethlisberger drops the bomb on the bulk, which happens to have like a cartoon communist general riding it like Slim Pickens,
with his mustache blowing in the wind.
The bomb plummets down and explodes in a pixely mushroom cloud on the bulk. And the angels aren't pleased. The bulk gets blown up and we cut to a cloud with a fucking angel sitting on it, just shaking her head. And then guess what? Guess who else is there? Our friend the dog. He's dead now too.
He's been killed. Do you think the lady angel was supposed to be Lolita?
I don't know.
Oh, Jesus. It's possible. It's very possible.
So later, Hannah joins her father in the command center, and she's sad about what's going on with Henry. And he tells her that you should be proud of him because he stopped Dr. Kontlove, but she's just absolutely devastated, and we fade to black. Back at the mansion, Hannah awakens to find Henry just pacing the hallways. Why not? She embraces him and they sit down on their neon green chairs so he can propose. And she says yes, and she wants to tell her father the good news, but Henry explains that, we can't tell him. He tried to kill me. And then when the general comes in and finds him, he immediately attacks Henry and drags him by the throat out onto their Miami nightclub-style balcony. And Hannah screams in horror as they both fall from the balcony and plummet to the ground in different clothes. They splat on the ground and they're both dead.
Like, why didn't he turn into the bulk then? Like, he looked at a picture of that general and got hard, as John said.
Yeah.
Here's the man right there choking you.
Yeah. Bulk out.
Yeah.
Well, he says, "I'll kill us both." And they both go over the side of the balcony. They both hit the ground, and we show them both laying there. John, get ready for it. Cut to the graveyard.
2 times in 1 season.
Damn. Hannah is standing in this goddamn peanut-style graveyard, talking to the headstone of Henry. She says that she wishes...
Schools and ghosts. The schools and ghosts out there.
Yeah, and it's like ravens and shit.
Yeah, there might as well have been ghosts and big giant black widow spiders crawling around in the tree.
Dude, I would have fucking loved it if there was just some ghosts flying around.
So she says to the headstone that she wishes that she could see his face one more time, but says her goodbyes. She places a rose on the grave and leaves. Next, our good old buddy the detective shows up, drunk off his ass, and he damns Henry to hell to sit on Satan's pitchfork, you unholy jerk. And then he tosses his flask onto the grave and proceeds to piss on it. The grave starts to rumble, and then the detective gets 2 purple Hulk hands pressed to the sides of his head, and the movie mercifully cuts to black.
You know, speaking of merciful, I called this movie a merciful 76 minutes long.
No, this took me just as long to watch Gunan. It took me just as long to watch any of the other ones.
That's what I'm saying. This was not merciful.
It was so dense with stuff. With nonsense. I'm going to have nightmares of that fucking hobgoblin.
Well, I'll tell you all this.
Where was he? Why was he there?
Why was the guy riding the bomb?
What? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's just I felt like we weren't at the point where everything was just getting thrown in yet, and the hobgoblin really stands out to me.
I stopped the movie and I took a picture of it and I was going to send it to you guys. I was going to go, what the fuck is this? But I stopped myself because it was like midnight.
Well, there's 2 things that I have to say. Number 1, I can't wait to see John's fan art of the Amazing Bulk. Number 2, I'm going to let y'all off the hook. None of my questions came from that 15-minute acid trip at the end of the movie.
Good. So good. Yeah, we got to do the questions now.
That wouldn't have been fair.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Oh, man. Craziness.
Do y'all want to do questions, or is there anything else y'all want to say about this thing?
I guess I just wanted to comment on Hank's gravestone real quick.
Okay.
Because even funnier than just cutting to the gravestone, is the gravestone. Because it's this crappy CG gravestone with Comic Sans type, just on top of it. It's not even chiseled in there.
Yeah, there's no... You can tell that it's not part of.
White Comic Sans. It's just nobody respected this man's life. Gave him Comic Sans on his gravestone.
We're gonna handwrite his name on his gravestone with fucking whiteout in Comic Sans. Yeah, I have nothing else to say about this movie.
Yeah, that's it.
We can go straight to the questions.
Okay. All right. Question number 1. What color were the roses that Hank gave Hannah?
Pretty sure I know that one.
Question 2. How long had Hannah and Hank been dating?
Ooh.
Whew. Gonna have to guess on that.
How old was Hank? For question 3. Here's one of Blake's bullshit questions. What brand were the helicopter seats?
Oh, come on. I saw that and didn't think that would be important.
And according to the news screen in the general's house, how many days had the stock market been steady?
Oh,
fuck. Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure I got 2. I definitely didn't get one of them.
All right. What color were the roses?
Orange.
They were orange?
They were orange.
All right.
Nice.
How long had Hannah and Hank been dating?
I'm gonna say 1 year.
I guessed 6 years.
It was 4 years.
Bah.
How old was Hank?
29.
Oh, I had 30.
He was 29.
Damn it. They mentioned his 30th birthday or something?
Well, I just went by what was on his tombstone.
I went by his tombstone too. I immediately did the math when I saw it.
What brand were the seats in the helicopter?
Tech seat.
Sparko.
They were Sparko seats.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
2-2. And how many days have the stock market been steady according to the news screen?
I just guessed 25 days.
I'm going to say 30.
It was 5 days.
Fuck.
5 days. All right.
Y'all each got 2.
I was hoping to gain some ground on Chase.
I still got a 4-point lead on John.
Wow.
That's insane.
The current standing is me in first with 11, John in second with 7, and Blake with 4.
Yeah.
So, okay. This is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for the revenge movie.
All right, I'm gonna disappoint you a little bit, I think.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, okay, so I was thinking about it, and the episode of this pick will come out like right near Halloween, and my revenge pick is very much not a Halloween movie.
Okay.
So I just
for the sake of the podcast,
for the sake of the show, I made a different call.
John,
you made a
this
spooky
is why
pick.
I've never been with you since the beginning.
So the revenge pick is still coming.
Okay.
So you got to keep your assholes puckered, motherfuckers. So we're gonna be watching Killer Workout, aka Aerobicide.
Is this a sequel to Death Spa?
It's not. I think it came out a couple years before Death Spa.
Oh, this Death Spa ripped this off.
I'm not. I didn't compare the years. One's 87, I think, and one's 89. I can't remember which is which. Well, this one's 87. I think Death Spa was 89. But a lot of people get confused. They get the movies confused. But it's not. It's not Death Spa. It's got a 3.5 stars on Amazon, 4.9 out of 10 on IMDb, and a 38% Rotten Tomatoes audience score, which are all a little bit stronger than you'd expect, but when I get to the reviews...
It's got some cult status.
Yeah, you'll see. 85 minutes. It's directed by David A. Pryor, who's, he does a lot of bad movies. He's done a bunch of movies I've considered for the show, including Deadly Prey, Future Force, and White Fury, starring Marsha Carr, David Campbell, and Fritz Matthews. Taglines, there's a couple of taglines. The workout will kill you. And something very unhealthy is happening at Rhonda's health club.
Okay.
Synopsis. 2 years ago, a young woman named Valerie was burned after entering a tanning salon. Now, her twin sister, Rhonda, runs a local gym where all of a sudden, people are being murdered.
That's the motivation?
It remains to be seen.
She got a sunburn at a tanning salon, so I'm going to start killing people?
Hey, I don't know, man. Maybe she's not the killer. Maybe she's not. Some plot keywords. Muscle man. One word. Camera focus on female butt. Jockstrap.
That's the John we know and love.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe how many of the plot keywords for this movie were breast, bare breast, nudity, female nudity. Like, it was like ridiculous. And naked murderer.
Okay.
A couple of reviews, chock full of awesome 80s teas and sleaze, with amateurs across the board bringing their bosoms a bounce into the beats. I'd never heard of this low-budget horror gem before, but it was completely entertaining for all the wrong reasons. Gloriously ridiculous fun for those with an affection for this kind of thing. I give it no stars, but I highly recommend it. I haven't had such fun laughing at a terrible Z movie in a long time. I have no idea if the makers intended this to be a comedy or what, but ridiculousness is the name of the game. The aerobic dance sequences, the crazy kills, the bad acting, The fact that everyone in the movie is a complete moron. So much cheese, so much 80s music, so much fun. By all means, watch and be amazed. So, Killer Workout. I just thought it'd be fun to have a, somewhat horror-themed episode right about there.
Yeah, well, guess I don't know what to say about that.
I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun to talk about. It's gonna be fucking brutal to watch it.
Maybe.
It will be.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I wish old Chase wouldn't have used that fucking sword so quick.
Wasted.
Yeah. I was disappointed too. When I realized that it would just be the wrong time to drop the revenge pick.
Yeah. Well, the pain will just have to wait.
Yeah.
What they say about serving revenge refrigerated or something?
Yes, Klingons.
Yeah. Oh Lord. All right. Well, there's the amazing bulk in the bag. We typically don't say this, folks, but just out of the morbid curiosity, you need to see this one.
No, go watch the amazing bulk.
At least the last 15 minutes, or wherever the timestamp was that fucking goblin happened.
I don't know if you need to watch the whole thing.
No, just that last part.
Watch the trailer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of craziness in the trailer.
There's craziness in the trailer, but the trailer at least let me believe that it was going to be a movie with a first, second, and third act, and characters with, arcs.
No, they abandoned that shit real early.
And that it wasn't going to just, kind of happen to me. But,
yeah.
Maybe
just take random clicks on the... on the bar.
I know
there you go.
The whole point of this podcast is we watch them so you don't have to, but you should really experience this.
It is, for all of its what it is, it's fucking unique.
Because, like I said, there's no way we can describe our acid trip to you.
No.
You have to experience it yourself.
No, you gotta take that peyote on your own.
Yeah, that's right.
So on that, I'd like to thank everybody for listening. If you can drop us a review on iTunes, we would so very, very much appreciate that. You can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Garbage Theater, on Twitter at Garbage_Theater, and on Instagram at Garbage_Theater. If you have a suggestion for a movie, shoot it our way. Send it to us on any of our social channels, or you can send it to us directly at garbagetheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Last words on this from you two, because I'm done. I'm done talking about this.
What would I say about this? I think I'm definitely going to write some emails. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm going to track some people down.
Get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, I'm going to track some people down and just... I want a better idea of what's going on here.
Detective Blake is afoot.
Yes.
Yeah, listen up. Hey, whoever made this thing, get in contact with us. We want to talk to you.
But I have to say, full disclosure, last time Blake got in contact with the director of a movie we watched, it didn't pan out so well.
No. We're not going to go into who it was and what movie, but they started defending their art.
I think he took umbrage with the fact that we are called Garbage Theater.
Oh, Lord. But, I mean, if someone's going to defend this, I almost want to hear that.
Look, if they want to defend it, we'll make a special fucking segment.
Yeah.
And hear this fucker out.
Yeah. Special episode. Interview with the director of The Amazing Bulk. Interview with anybody involved, actually.
Yeah.
Any of the actors.
Did you know this is what it was going to be?
I'm getting on this. This is going to happen.
We got questions.
Damn good questions.
Okay, so Amazing Bulk, the end. Moving on, we're watching Killer Workout, aka Aerobicide.
I wish they would have left it called Aerobicide.
I know.
This would have been another aside movie picked by John.
Oh yeah,
very true.
So that's up next. Go check out Bulk, please, and join us next time. We'll see you then, folks.